You're getting married, you have some dog in a stroller like a then what are you doing?
All of these places are describing her as a trad wife, and then she's saying, yes, I'm very red-pilled, but she's not.
The people we didn't hang out with, so they've grown up now, and they're the ones making the laws. They're the Mark Zuckerbergs. They're the Faucis of the world, the fucking nerds.
Those nerds that were smart in school are the ones that make the laws now. What the f*** do you want? And the people she described. Mark Zuckerberg, Fauci, not the people who make the laws. Hello lovely people, my name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about something that we shouldn't really talk about. I'm going to talk about something. It's been a long morning. I'm going to talk about someone that we shouldn't talk about. And I'm going to talk about why we shouldn't talk about them in this video where I am talking about them. Okay, maybe I should just start because it's not going to make any sense until we actually get into it. I'm talking about Lily Gaddis today. If you've managed not to hear about her, congratulations. I'm about to ruin that for you. This is a woman who had some TikTok go viral because she said the N-word in the middle of a diatribe about wanting to be a trad wife and how immigrants are terrible. All of that. So this is a very obvious, I'm saying the most controversial, ticking off my hard right-wing talking points to get attention on social media, ploy that you could possibly imagine. And a lot of people are saying, rightly so, or a lot of people were saying about a month ago, I decided to wait for this video so I wasn't feeding into the immediate hype. At the very least, because I am talking about somebody that I shouldn't be talking about, if you'll remember that from a moment ago. There's been a lot of concern around whether we should talk about this because are we just giving her what she wants, don't feed the trolls, etc, etc. All of that being true and worth considering. But at the same time, there being value in dissecting what kind of a society, because we live in a society, what kind of a society we operate in that allows this hate speech to influence a pipeline to exist, and for people to think that this is a way to succeed in life, and like people saying basically hate speech online as like a job prospect. There's value in discussing that and dissecting that. I think it was best said for me by a guy called Zaid Tabani. I'll link his video down below. It's the first video I've seen of his, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, I'm very sorry. But I thought it was very good. It was a brief overview of the whole thing with a discussion about how there can be value in talking about this, but also this woman deserves to be ignored. I'm going to elaborate on that in a bit, why I think she has nothing of value for anyone, including conservatives. I think I disagree with a lot of the reaction to this woman being like, oh no, she's going to become the next hot thing in conservative media. I feel like that reaction is more likely to enable her to succeed. And if we keep talking about her going, oh no, stop guys, she's going to become the next big thing. I don't know if that's true. And I do think that acting like that is inevitable and going to be the case actually contributes more negatively to the situation. Like, that's more likely to make it so. Am I making any sense? Let's just start with the video. So, because you want to know what actually was said, you want to know what actually happened, let's just show you the video real quick. This is the video that went viral on TikTok.
Okay, this time I have a beef with the male community. I give my criticisms to all because we are all about equity and inclusion here, right? So I
love the way she says equity and inclusion here, right? Like inclusion is the most disgusting thing you could possibly do. What a load of wank. She's got beef with the male community. Let's listen up.
Sick and tired of all girls getting blamed, or like guys, certain guys, thinking that all girls are gold diggers. I don't know if it's because you get your information from those street.
She's doing everything possible to look like an American trad wife. She's even got the kitchen set up from Classically Abby's first podcast. Remember that? She's cooking, ? Although I suspect she's actually not, because the volume of the various ingredients that she puts into this bowl are extremely sus. I like garlic, but that's a lot of fucking garlic powder. Also, get fresh garlic. Some trad wife.
Interviews in like Miami at 3 a.m. outside of a nightclub. You're getting the opinion of some dumb whores and immigrants fresh off the boat looking for a green card. Yes.
My favorite thing that she does repeatedly throughout her controversial videos is that, especially this one, every time she says one of her controversial talking points, she kind of gets stuck like, oh, I have to think of an actual thing to say. Like, I've said the whores thing, the dumb whores thing. Immigrants, yep, that was on my cue card list. I don't think she cares remotely about what she's saying. I think she barely knows what she's saying. She's deliberately being as controversial and pick-me as possible. What I've heard is that she is an unmarried single mother. There's a different vibe, right? There's almost like instead of like trad wives are the best kind of classically Abby sort of thing, it's more like a trad wife wannabe, like, I'm so great, I guess I live in probably like a red state in some conservative area, and I would really like a husband so I can stay at home and make my garlic soup. And, you know, it's a bit more desperate with context. I don't know.
Yes, they are probably gold diggers, but that's the exception. I'm the rule.
That was just in case you missed it, because I paused it in the middle of that bit. That was her saying that immigrant women are all gold diggers looking for green cards. But those are the exceptions. Lily is the rule. She is the epitome of a good trad woman. If she is a single mother, I think a lot of the trad community would not maybe agree with that.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass. And they don't care. We don't give a
So that's, yep, so she said the thing. I've got to bloody censor that. It makes me feel uncomfortable just to hear her say it. It's very, we're white. Just don't say it. I know, whatever, free speech, like, but just don't. You don't need, why would you? You just sound like, and the thing is, she doesn't sound edgy and cool, because again, there's that huge pause afterwards where she's like, she's so uncomfortable saying it. It's not natural. She's saying it just to be controversial, and then she said it, and she's like, okay, I said that. And anyway, back to the conversation, because she's so, like, not used to speaking like that, because she knows that you shouldn't.
fuck about your money. I couldn't care less about your fucking money, okay? My type is broke mechanics and surfer hippie dudes who just want to live in...
On behalf of broke mechanics and surfer hippie dudes, especially surfer hippie dudes, no offense to broke mechanics, just that surfer hippie dudes have that, like, free life, chill vibe associated with them. They don't want you. It does feel a bit like a really unhinged dating app video, like the sort of thing you submit to some kind of blind date application where you're like, this is my type, and I hate immigrants, and also, your type is broke mechanic? Say goodbye to this fucking lifestyle.
Live in a shack and surf and have babies. All I ask of a man is that you're competent, you're not a pussy. If somebody broke into our house at 3 a.m., you would know how to grab a gun and shoot a motherfucker.
The US is so weird. It's so weird, dude. What I want is a man, and she takes so long to figure out what she wants when she's trying to explain that this is clearly all she wants of a man. She's like, I want you to be able to shoot a guy. I want to know that if we hear a noise in the night, you're immediately picking up your murder stick so we can kill a man. Maybe just like some fake security cameras, like a Ring doorbell. I don't know. I feel like there's steps before I need a man who knows how to shoot someone in case they break in the middle. That feels like insane levels of paranoia, right?
That's pretty much all we ask. Like, that's pretty much like all girls I know. I don't know one girl who's a gold digger. So stop throwing us all under the bus as if we're all...
That was a lot of pepper, right? Just like, this is just a bowl of garlic and pepper. What are you cooking? Yeah, stop throwing us girls under the bus by assuming we're all gold diggers. Because it's just the immigrants and the 3 a.m. nightclub whores, I think. I don't...
all gold diggers because we don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about your money. My dating history consists of all broke guys. I actually don't even like rich guys. They have an attitude. They're spoiled brats. They don't know anything about real life. I was raised on a farm with 4 brothers, so I can't deal with the bullshit. I don't like a pussy. I hate pussies. So stop.
Every time she says something that she views as like, fuck yeah, that was sassy, she's like, I don't like a pussy. She goes into like a pose every time. It's really funny. She just doesn't want a pussy, all right? She doesn't like rich guys. She's good. She's a good, lovely trad wife. So that's the viral TikTok, right? You can't really tell what she actually thinks about anything because all of that was just like right-wing talking points and being as pick-me as possible about specifically not being a gold digger. Apparently being brought up on a farm makes you less interested in money. She must be at least a bit of an arsehole. Like in her real life, we don't know, this is a persona, blah, 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 but you have to be a bit of an arsehole to be comfortable posting something so outrageous in a video that isn't satire. Like, you have to genuinely not give a fuck about how immigrants are treated to call all immigrant women money-hungry gold diggers looking for a green card. Because you have to have some kind of awareness about immigrants being treated badly because of that stereotype to be aware of that stereotype, right? To use the N-word as a white person. I mean, again, just don't. Like, just don't. But also, I don't think you can just throw that around in that, like, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said that. I don't care. I said it. I don't think you can have any black people in your life to be, like, vaguely comfortable doing that. At least vaguely close to you. Like, even a moderately normal person would have the decency to be embarrassed about that, right? But posting that in your I hope this goes viral video, you've either got to be an asshole or insane. Tragically, her TikTok is gone. Her TikTok was removed. Hooray. But there was one other really funny video that is unrelated. I just thought it was hilarious personally. So I'm going to source that from Sad Boys, which I'll also link down below, because it made me laugh and you'll see why.
So all those nerds in high school, like the weird theater kids, you know who I'm talking about, the people we didn't hang out with, so they've grown up now and they're the ones making the laws. They're the Mark Zuckerbergs. They're the Faucis of the world of fucking nerds.
You know how I had to share that with you. First of all, the nerds and the theater kids, bitch is just describing me. I like that she's playing to an audience of like mean girls, like former high school mean girls, being like, those nerds that were smart in school are the ones that make the laws now. What the fuck do you want? And the people she described. Mark Zuckerberg. Fauci. Not the people who make the laws.
Dorks that never got laid in high school and they got a major chip on their shoulder against the normies. That's why you see all these fat ass fucks making laws. Oh, you can be obese and anorexic. Okay, sure. They're the ones inventing clown world.
Yeah, I love that law. I love the law that allows me to be obese and anorexic at the same time. It was written in under the Clown World Amendment. Like, she's clearly just, again, trying to hit conservative talking points, but like, it's like she doesn't have a good grasp of actual political talking points, so she's just kind of saying any insane thing. Also, the dorks who didn't get laid in high school, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, USA aliens. That's why you guys are so weird. I'm sorry, that was mean. I shouldn't disparage any community in a video where we're talking about a woman who is deliberately disparaging as many communities as possible. This should be an inclusive space for us all to come together and hate this one stupid person. People in the USA, in the comments, which is most of you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure high school in America ends at 18. Which actually it does in the UK now as well. School here ends at 16, but then you have 2 years of college or doing something college-esque. I don't want to get into it, but basically you have to be in education, something like education or an apprenticeship or whatever, until 18 here as well. So you're in high school until 18. 18 is also like the average age of consent in the US. So like you'd generally be considered a child for pretty much that whole period. Why is it the weird thing not to get laid when you're a kid in school? Am I just a super nerdy dork theater kid for thinking that that's a weird way to view things? I mean, yes, but maybe not for that reason.
You wonder why actors are so politically leftist? Oh, right, it's because they're loser theater kids.
Damn, I feel so attacked right now. I'm also an actor. But of course you knew that. Yeah, seems like the only people this lady hates more than immigrants immigrant women, because they're taking all of the men for money, is theatre kids. Theatre kids and nerds. It's like trying to take like a weird clique, like a high school thing, where it's like, this is an example of a cliche nerdy clique that me, the hot mean girl, might bully. And she's like taken that into her adult personality in a way that is incredibly cringy. It's so nothing after her like racist diatribe, but it is fucking funny. So I wanted to share that with you. A bit of levity for a break. So after her first video went viral and everyone was talking, she released this little follow-up, let's call it.
So a recent video of mine seems to have upset members of a certain community. The backlash just really made me, just really do a deep dive.
You can tell this bitch hates actors because she is doing such a bad performance in this video. She's trying to be like, I'm just so a genuine, and you can see she's like, I'm about to flip this around on you. It's actually, I'm being a parody right now. I'm being satirical. Maybe if you were a theatre kid, maybe if you had had some acting lessons, darling, you might perform this stunt a little better. That's all I'm saying.
Like, do a soul search. And after all that, I still couldn't find a care.
If the First Amendment is intended to protect anything, it's intended to protect offensive speech. If you're not going to offend anyone, you don't need protection. Larry Flynt. I don't know who Larry Flynt is. I don't really care. So she straight up did the whole free speech thing. The I said something racist, free speech. Also, I couldn't find a care. I guess to be fair, if you go around calling everyone a fucking nerd, you probably would struggle to construct a proper sentence. It's okay to make fun of people saying stupid things if they're calling everyone else a loser nerd. I've decided that that's the rule. Usually, we wouldn't criticize people's sentence structure that much, but she thinks the nerds are ruining everything. So, whatever. I think it's okay. I think we should be allowed just this one time, just as a treat, this one time. Here's the thing about free speech and why everyone is wrong and stupid. When I say everyone, I mean the few idiot people like this who say something racist and then use free speech to defend themselves. That's not what free speech is about. The point of free speech is that you can't be, like, arrested for saying something that people disagree with. The point of free speech is to protect, like, honest journalism and whistleblowing and anti-propaganda. It's not so you can't be told off for being racist. It's not so you don't face any consequences for being racist. It's so that for saying a stupid thing on the internet, you're not going to go to prison. We can probably all agree that that's fine. You should be allowed to say a stupid, idiot thing on the internet, even if it's racist, and not go to prison. Inciting hate speech, different thing, but she wasn't doing that, so fine. The beauty of free speech is that I have the same right to call you a fucking idiot in response. She really is hitting every mark in the, like, hurt, conservative, attacked by the mob, long-suffering individual. Let's be honest, the fact that she is pretty and white and, like, traditionally, she's got the trad wife attractive aesthetic. That's a big part of why this succeeds. It sucks, but that's the case. And she knows that because every time she says something sassy, she does like a model pose. She's like, you fucking nerds. Marry me, please. Please marry me. Following this, Lily Gaddis was fired from her job. She had a job. Not a brilliant trad wife, again. You should be in the kitchen making your garlic soup. She worked for some healthcare company. She was fired in the aftermath. A day later, a day after it went viral, the company posted a statement. We at Roth of the Carolinas want to address a recent incident that has caused concern and upset among our stakeholders. A newly hired employee. Imagine being a new employee and then getting fired for saying the N-word on TikTok. Man, we do live in clown world. Maybe that is the one thing that Lily Gaddis is correct about. That we live in clown world. A newly hired employee made inflammatory remarks on social media that do not align with the values and beliefs of our company. These statements aren't representative of our organization, etc., etc. We are owned and operated by African-American, female, and immigrant-owned business, and handled this situation as quickly as we could. We want to assure you that we are committed to fostering a diverse, inclusive, and respectful work environment where all individuals are valued and respected. Nice. Good. Gaddis responded to this by posting on Twitter, "Oh no, I just got fired. #mob. She posted another tweet. Thanks, Black community, for helping to launch my new career in conservative media. You all played your role well, like the puppets you are. I don't love your tone. Listen, she's acting like this is all a big evil plan, like part of some kind of long-term ploy she's been building. I don't think it is. I'm gonna tell you why. It is way too hot to puppeteer. I'm sorry. Hello lovely people, Editing Emma here. I just wanted to share a kind of one funny extra thing that I found in this, the post-firing, tweeting about it portion. The owner of the business that Lily Gaddis got fired from and briefly worked for, Terry Lindo, spoke to the press about what happened. It sounds like she was very compassionate about the whole thing, but as soon as the firing became big public news, she and the company got a slew of racist abuse, which is awful, but not unexpected. Apparently behind closed doors, Gaddis did apologise to Lindo and the company. Then on Twitter, Gaddis claimed that she loved her former boss. My former boss is great, I stepped away so she wouldn't lose her business. The woke mob is the real problem here, she says to the audience of people sending racist abuse to the boss that she loved. Okay. People called her out for changing the story, and Gaddis said, she asked if I could put out a tweet because she's getting harassed, meaning Lindo. The US Sun went to Lindo to check those claims, and she said she did ask her to ask her followers to stop spamming her email with elementary tactics. But she was fired. Gaddis just lied about that. Lily Gaddis. So, Gaddis did an interview with InfoWars. She's been supported by people like Alex Jones and Milo Yiannopoulos, who are shining examples of society, and definitely not ridiculed even by most conservatives. She did an interview on InfoWars where she said she was raised super conservative, and she's really red-pilled and all of this whatever. And yet, this video also surfaced.
Yeah. Hey, America. Hey, people not having kids. You are some stupid motherfuckers out there. The birth rate is declining, and what are you doing? You're getting married. Like, why even bother fucking getting married, you loser? You're getting married. You have some fucking dog in a stroller like a and then what are you doing? How are you helping America? We're letting the birth rates decline, and I'm speaking particularly to white people. So today, I want you to take the time out of your day to thank a single mom, because us girls getting knocked up, we're the only ones helping with the declining birth rate.
So it's weird, right? Because on the one hand, you've got this, like, alt-right conspiracy vibe, the, what's it called? I forget what it's called, but there's not enough white people anymore. There's not enough white people being born. America's not even gonna be white anymore in X number of years. You know, that conspiracy, you know the one. So there's that, which obviously appeals to them. Declining birth rate, blah, blah, blah. But saying that people getting married is stupid is very counter to that conservative audience. Saying that you should thank single mums who are having children out of wedlock is very counter to that right-wing audience. So it's like, all of these places are describing her as a trad wife, and then she's saying, yes, I'm very red-pilled, but she's not. She's not. Maybe she is now, in that she's playing that character because that was getting her attention on, you know, such valuable places as Infowars.com. But, like, she's not. So here's the thing, she doesn't have anything to offer a conservative audience, really. She's not making any big points. She's not speaking with any political nuance, or any nuance overall. She's just, like, spouting certain talking points while interrupting them by calling people fucking losers, to be dramatic, and saying slurs every now and then. Racist slurs, homophobic slurs, just to sort of be as dramatic as possible without really saying anything. Like, I'm a single mom and single moms are great, but really appealing to the wrong audience with that kind of vibe. It's very strange. It's almost like she's hoping to twist the conservative narrative or viewpoint so that she can fit in better, because being a single mom is not something that they approve of at all. All she's got is, like, a couple of videos saying, I hate immigrants and I wish I had a husband and lived in a shed, or whatever. She is a great conservative talking point as a short-term story. Attractive white woman is cancelled by woke mob. That doesn't last forever. That's why I don't think that this woman is going to be the next big thing unless we make it so by shouting about how she's going to be the next big thing in conservative media. This is an entirely selfish woman, completely driven by self. She doesn't have, again, if you're a conservative, she doesn't have the conservative values that are important to that community. She's entirely self-advocating while just saying slurs and things to be as controversial as possible to get clicks. And that does work for some right-wing media, but only if you adhere to all of their talking points. And she doesn't. I don't think she's going to go the distance. I can't find her on Twitter anymore. Her TikTok's gone. She's got like one private Instagram maybe. Her LinkedIn is gone. Even just looking her up, I found difficult. And I had to source other videos to find her content and articles and stuff from a month ago. I don't think Lily Gaddis is going the distance. I don't think her evil plan, you foolish black community getting angry, actually helped me with my ploy. I don't think it's going to stand the test of time. I think it's going to die down. She's going to have to get a regular job again, and that's going to be the end of Lily Gaddis. She's probably going to try and see if she can worm her way into a couple more podcasts. But once you've talked about this once, and how you were brought up on a red pill farm, or whatever, there's nothing else for her to say. There's nothing for her to bring to the conversation. I'm not worried about this woman being the next hot thing. I just disagree with it. I disagree with that take. And I think that saying that and making it seem like a viable pipeline, stupid, mindless controversy to influencer, I think like portraying that as a valid thing is probably more harmful than everyone just going, haha, look at this stupid woman, and then forgetting about her. Honestly, that's kind of how I feel about it. I do think people are absolutely right to say don't feed the trolls, and if everybody had just ignored her in the first place, she wouldn't even have gotten this amount of attention. But if we think about what she's actually got, a couple of podcast appearances and a Zoom interview on InfoWars, is she making money off of all this? Probably not. If so, it's not going to be much. And I don't think it's going to be long term. I don't think we should be treating her like the evil genius she's pretending to be, because I think she's going to fail. I think she's redundant. I only really wanted to do this video because I have that viewpoint that is counter to, well, because, okay, the theatre nerds and the high school nerds thing is really funny, and I feel like a lot of us are the nerds, so I feel like people would appreciate that. So that was one part of it. But mostly I wanted to do this video just because I hadn't seen my viewpoint reflected anywhere. I'd seen a lot of people saying good things about not feeding the trolls, etc., but I genuinely don't think this is going to be the next big influencer. And yeah, I don't think that portraying it that way is very healthy either. So I wanted to contribute to the conversation once everything had died down and there's nowhere to funnel views to, right? Lily Gaddis doesn't have any active socials that are getting money for her open right now, you know? She acted like it was a big evil plan, but like, as I understand from people who use TikTok and actually know how it works, people who are not me, big views don't equal big money, as far as I'm aware. Her TikTok's gone. Her LinkedIn's gone. She doesn't have any active socials right now. If it was an evil genius plan, she'd have like a website with a Substack and, a podcast and a book. You know, she'd have all that ready to go to divert people's attention to when the hype was big. That's how you do your evil ploy. Don't do that, though. Please. It's just an example. It's hypothetical. My retirement plan is to become a hard-right, evangelical Christian, born-again Christian. When my views start to die down, I'm going to have a religious experience, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so I'm posting this to say, I agree we shouldn't talk about her. But I had a different perspective on this discussion that I felt was kind of missing from all the dissections that I've seen. And I wanted to share that, and I'm sharing that at a time when I can't see this influencer actually having any influence in there's nowhere to funnel views. Like, if people see my video and think, yeah, awesome, a new hot alt-right woman, even though she doesn't actually, like, her viewpoints are completely contradictory. But people see that and are like, yeah, great, somebody who the woke mob hate. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go and give her money and make her more popular. So I think this is a good time to talk about it. And then stop. And we'll never talk about her here again. I think probably her plan now is to try and launch her career as a right-wing influencer, but like, by the time she's ready, people are going to have forgotten about her. Maybe, at best, she gets a job on some conservative talk show, because they love attractive white women. Like, big fucking deal. You want to look stupid and be angry for a living? Be my guest. She has nothing but parroting talking points, and not even really parroting talking points. She just sort of yells without really saying anything. I don't feel that's a concern. My only concern regarding this whole thing is that we, in responding to it, are treating it like it's a worrying thing. I think that's almost giving people like her power by saying, oh my god, look what's happening, look what we've done, now she's got all this power and fame. She doesn't, unless we manifest it by saying over and over again that she does. That's my view. If you disagree, let me know down below. Also, if you agree, let me know down below. If you want to talk about something completely different, maybe you had a really good toasty yesterday, let me know down below. Do like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss future silliness. There's all kinds of videos and playlists on my channel. Do consider checking them out. Like this video, leave your thoughts down below. If you really like this channel and you want to support what I do here, you can become a channel member. You get comment priority and some goofy little emotes, and you get a little chick next to your name that's really cute. If you like video games or you just like listening to my voice, I have a gaming channel at Little Duck Gaming. We have lots of fun over there. I release at least 2 videos a week. I'm also live on Twitch again, up to 3 times a week. I'm gonna say up to 3 times a week because life is chaotic, you know? If you follow me on Twitch at Emma Little Duck, you can see my schedule, and if I'm ever gonna miss a stream, I do put it up there. Except for occasionally when I forget. The best way to support this channel is via the Patreon, where you get some exclusive videos, silly bits and bobs. There's all, it says on the Patreon the things that what you can get. There's a good backlog of like videos and uncut interviews and things on there. If you consider checking that out, I'd be so grateful. With that, I must give a big old shout out and a thank you to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon, especially Conla. God damn it, Conla. Most importantly, have yourselves a very lovely week, and I will see you really soon.